Tonight on NewsWatch 12 at 6, Shady Cove has been without water since Monday. And we'll have a live interview with Oregon Department of Forestry about the Copperfield fire burning in Klamath County. Plus, another fire broke out just south of Ashland this afternoon. We have those details coming up right now on NewsWatch 12 at 6.
Watching out for you. This is NewsWatch 12 at 6.
A grass fire just south of Ashland interrupted traffic and threatened structures this afternoon. Thank you for joining us for NewsWatch 12 at 6. I'm Tim Quitadamo. Forward progress has been stopped at about 13 acres, but not before two zones reached evacuation notices. NewsWatch 12's Samantha Cadera is live on scene. Sam, what more can you tell us about the I-5 fire?
Yeah, Tim, we're still here on the side of I-5 where traffic was at a standstill. But I want you guys to take a look at the burns from the fire. You can see that everything is still smoldering. And we walked along I-5 and spoke to some drivers as the fire was erupting. Traffic is almost back to normal, but drivers are asked to travel on one lane. And firefighters worked really fast to stop this fire, and you can see most of these trees are barely burned. It was just the grass. You can see all those leaves are still there. And we spoke to ODF, and they said the fire is fully out at 13 acres. The city of Ashland is not in danger. The evacuations were called due to the fast spread of the fire, and the progression is stopped. We just have firefighters walking around to patrol to make sure nothing becomes flammable again, and level 2 evacuations are still in place for JAC 542 and 541. We will continue to bring updates on this fire as it's still under investigation. Live in Ashland, Samantha Cadera, NewsWatch 12.
Sam, thank you. With the extreme heat returning, the Oregon Department of Forestry is announcing that Jackson and Josephine counties will return to extreme fire danger levels. ODF says this is because dry vegetation, hot conditions, and numerous active fires throughout the region. The fire danger level for the two counties will increase to extreme on Friday morning. Earlier today, I spoke with Public Information Officer Natalie Weber about the change.
It's actually been a fairly busy fire season for us, but our goal really is for people to not necessarily know that because as we get fires, we want to wipe them off the map just as quickly as they appeared. And for the most part, we've been successful in doing that, which is awesome.
Fire danger decreased to high in Jackson and Josephine counties back in August. Klamath County, where the Copperfield fire is burning, has remained in extreme fire danger since July 11th. We're continuing our coverage on that Copperfield fire, which is burning in Klamath County tonight. And right now we're joined live by Public Information Officer for ODF, Tom Fields. Tom, thank you so much for taking the time to join us tonight.
Absolutely, Tim. My pleasure to be here.
And Tom, the Copperfield fire started abruptly on Sunday and grew pretty quickly. I just want to ask you a simple question to start. What are the latest developments on the Copperfield fire?
Well, you're absolutely right. When it started at the time of day when the wind was blowing. We were near red flag warnings. As you just said, we're in extreme fire danger here, far from out of the woods as fire season goes. And as that fire began to grow, it grew rapidly in very light fuels. The grasses and the brush had a pretty strong wind on it. And before our resources knew it, our local resources, the fire was already 200 to 300 acres in size.
Definitely some frightening conditions, a frightening situation. And with it burning near Chiloquin, I want to ask you, what side of the fire are crews focused on tonight?
Well, I'll tell you what, the whole fire is looking pretty good. The crews have been focusing on those areas where it could border communities, primarily to the northeast and northwest, and then down to the southwest of the fire itself. The fire is about 5 miles east of Chiloquin, but right now we've got a line completely around it. 0% contained, which means that we just have a lot of work ahead of us to strengthen those lines and start seeing some good containment.
Good to know, Tom. And many people in the area had to evacuate in the first couple of days of the Copperfield fire. And ODF has told us that 8 homes have been destroyed so far. So Tom, what should people in the Chiloquin area be aware of as we approach the latter half of this week when we're expecting temperatures to kind of ramp up again?
Well, I think that the main thing is to keep your guard up and raise your awareness about the fact that even though we're in September, school is starting, people are thinking about fall, we're still in summer. We're still seeing high temperatures, volatile conditions, and the slightest spark can start a fire. Our fire weather analyst, fire behavior analyst, just said the other day the possibility of ignition coming off of fire brands from that fire is 90%, which means 90 out of 100 times from a fire brand, a new start is going to happen. So that tells you how much caution the public should take in all the activities that they're doing, including mowing their grass, using power equipment, having campfires where they're allowed to have campfires, just being very conscientious about the conditions out there.
And Tom, the last question I have for you, I know a lot of people from their homes, or whether they could see the fire or smoke, they like taking pictures and videos. And on NewsWatch 12 at 4, we heard about issues with air support responding to emergencies when people are flying drones in the area. Have you had any issues with that on the Copperfield fire? And what is the warning that you want to give to people who are thinking about flying their drone towards the fire?
We haven't had any issues up to this point, but it's a great point to be made. If you fly, we can't. If drones are detected, it does pose a safety risk to our aircraft, and we just have to sit them down. We don't want another disaster on our hands. We've already lost 8 homes. We don't need another type of accident happening out there. We want to keep the firefighters safe, and we want to keep the public safe. The fire right now, the status is about 3,800 acres. We're keeping it in its footprint pretty good. And then the weather's been cooperating. So we're hoping that within the next week or so, we can completely pull this together and maybe go home.
All right, Tom Fields with the Oregon Department of Forestry. We want to thank you so much again for taking the time to join us tonight and with some good news on the Copperfield fire.
Absolutely. Thank you.
And now we'll turn to Stormwatch 12 meteorologist Sarah Kress in the Weather Center. Sarah, just got some good news from Tom Fields with ODF on the Copperfield fire, staying within its footprint for now, but we are noticing air quality is impacted in the region.
Yeah, we are seeing some significant air quality impacts, and as we head into today and the next few days, we'll most likely still be seeing some unhealthy air quality values. But right now across the region, we're sitting at some moderate to unhealthy for sensitive groups over into the Klamath Basin in Lake County. That's where we're seeing some unhealthy values. But let's go ahead. I wanted to show you the current drought update. We'll get another update as we're heading into tomorrow, but we're seeing some pretty dry conditions across the region. We're in a severe drought into Jackson County. We are seeing some pretty dry conditions. In the next few days, we'll be cranking up the heat. It's not going to be helping with those fire conditions. We do have a heat advisory issued west of the Cascades that is starting tomorrow at noon and lasting until 10 p.m. on Friday. We're going to be seeing temperatures well into the hundreds, potentially even breaking a record tomorrow. So again, let's take a look at smoke. This evening, we're seeing some hazy and smoky conditions as you're heading out for dinner. But as we're heading to bed tonight and waking up tomorrow morning, that's when we'll see a lot of the smoke settle, especially into the Klamath Basin. As you're waking up, we'll most likely see some unhealthy air qualities across the region. And then making our way back around dinner time tomorrow, we'll still continue to see hazy and smoky conditions, at least for the next few days ahead. Now, we are tracking the potential for the heat and some thunderstorms heading to this weekend. We'll talk more about it in our full forecast. Back to you, Tim.
Sarah, thank you. When it comes to the heat that we're expecting this week, Ashland is opening its cooling shelter. The shelter will be open tomorrow and Friday from noon to 7 p.m. each night. The shelter is at 2200 Ashland Street. It will have cool water, shade, and restrooms available. Other ways to stay cool in the heat include staying indoors with air conditioning when possible and drinking plenty of fluids. Over in Shady Cove, residents say they have been without water now for 3 days. They said they received notice Monday morning that there was a malfunction of the pump to the city's reservoir. Shortly after, the reservoir ran out of water. Residents shared with NewsWatch 12 how frustrated they're feeling.
Not having any flushing toilet, no water to brush your teeth, wash your hands.
Jackson County Emergency Services and the local fire district are responding with what they can to provide. Today, they passed out drinkable water to the community. Residents told us their water company, Highland Water, has not provided them with an update since yesterday morning at around 10 a.m. Grants Pass Fire and Rescue is introducing a new fire engine in the community. On Friday, they will hold a traditional ceremony known as pushback. This tradition involves physically pushing the new engine into the station. The new engine is a Type 3 wildland engine that was obtained through the Oregon State Fire Marshal's engine program. A total of 76 apparatuses have been built and distributed across the state by the Oregon State Fire Marshal this year. 7 of these are coming to the Rogue Valley. A gathering at the Oaks Car Show is coming up next Sunday, on Sunday, September 15th. The Sparrow Clubs are benefiting from a charity car show at the Rogue Valley Country Club. It will feature a variety of cars ranging from classics to brand new ones.
It's one of the best kept secrets in the valley, but this is our 5th year, and we're excited about, again, coming alongside Sparrow Club and being able to have it at the Country Club again this year.
The event will be from 10 a.m. to 3:30 next Sunday. Tickets are available at the door. Onto a money alert, Oregon's Health Authority is requesting a $39 billion budget over the next 2 years. The proposal submitted by the director includes more than $175 million for expanding treatment beds, more than $117 million for the behavioral health workforce, and more than $120 million for incarcerated individuals' medical care. The budget also includes more than $20 billion in federal funds for the Oregon Health Plan and nearly $7 billion in general funds. It targets improvements in mental health services, homelessness, and health equity.
We're taking a hazy look out across the region, and we saw some pretty warm temperatures today. Medford, you peaked at 102, and the Klamath Falls peaked at 91 today, and will only continue to go up from there the next few days. Now tonight, we will be cooling off slightly. It'll be a little bit of relief from this heat. We can also expect smoky conditions, but it's not going to get as cool as it usually does for this time of year. Temperatures still slightly warmer. But tomorrow, again, we're expecting those very hot temperatures, even potentially breaking a record into Medford tomorrow, down into Northern California. You guys will be flirting with those triple digits again tomorrow, and along the coast we'll be slightly cooling down. It'll feel a little bit nicer than those inland. Now the next few days, again, that heat will continue to stick around, but we're tracking some thunderstorms possibly on Friday and Saturday. We'll talk more about it later in our full forecast.
Sarah, thank you. In Curry County, camping along the ocean shore overnight could soon be illegal in Brookings. The proposed rule comes from residents living near Mill Beach in Brookings. The residents filed the petition citing concerns about public health, public safety, and the ecosystem. This would add Brookings to a list of cities where overnight camping is already prohibited. This list includes Gold Beach, Bandon, Lincoln City, and more. The Oregon Parks and Recreation Department wants to hear your thoughts on the matter. They are accepting public comment until October 15th. Looking ahead to next week, Pacific Power is hosting a community meeting in Talent to answer some of your questions. The president of Pacific Power will be there to address concerns about the recent power outages we've been seeing in Talent. There will be a Q&A session moderated by State Senator Jeff Golden. You will also be able to speak to Pacific Power's customer service team about your own account. The meeting will be on September 11th. It starts at 6:30 p.m. at the Talent Library. Onto a traffic alert tonight. Caltrans is sharing a reminder about the regulations for political signs along highways. The state law focuses on temporary political signs within view of a state highway. Signs are not to be placed within the state right-of-way. In addition, signs cannot be visible within 660 feet from the edge of the right-of-way of a classified landscaped freeway. The Oregon Department of Transportation wants to hear from you about the South Stage Road Extension Plan. ODOT and the City of Medford are seeking your input as you're looking at Sky 12 footage over the area that the plan is proposed to take place. The South Stage Road Extension Plan considers crossing Interstate 5 between Phoenix and the South Medford exits. Other options include an overpass, an underpass, with and without interchanges. An online open house for the project ends on September 16th. A public meeting will also be held virtually on September 11th.